What is up, Chuggernauts? Welcome in. It is the Gridiron Chuggers, and we are back. Wildcard weekend. We've got my boy Juke and Josh in the building.
Yo, it's about to go down.
Lock it in, Lando, back at it.
Yes, sir.
And your boy, Big Flex X. We've got playoff football in the air. There's a lot to break down. Lando, let us know what's in store for us today.
Oh, we got some stuff in store for you. We're going to be going over a lot today. We're going to break down this week's best bets and parlays, money lines, over-unders, the whole shebang. And we got some fantasy football updates, maybe even some guys to put on your radar for next season to make sure you clinch a spot in the playoffs.
Hell yeah. So don't go anywhere. We're just getting started. Make sure to follow and subscribe to us on YouTube and Instagram at Gridiron Chuggers. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Click the link in our bio. It'll take you straight to a winning fantasy season and maybe a bigger bank account. Come on. But without further ado, the countdown to kickoff starts now.
So, as we know, Wildcard weekend is here. And, we're about making that money. This is the time to make the most out of the little dollars you got. So, we have some money line bets with this wildcard round. Now, to recap last week, we had quite an eventful record between all three of us. Of course, Xavier would be coming from behind with a 12-4 record for last week. His overall
I'm always coming, baby.
He is now 55, 33, and 1. Lando came in second place for last week with 11-5. Overall record of 63, 25, and 1. So we have some great margins so far. I came in last week as the loser for the week at 10-6 with an overall record of 60, 28, and 1. So, it's looking pretty damn good to me. I don't know about y'all.
Shooting over 500, that's for sure.
Hey.
Yeah, hella over 500. Damn.
You just got to take half of our bets and you're going to win these,
I feel like Mike Tomlin.
Oh, hey, 10 seasons straight now. 10 seasons straight. But we do have some new picks for you guys. So we're going to start it off with the first afternoon game. We have the Seattle Seahawks at the 49ers. This is at 4:31 p.m., so kind of an odd time to start, but the money line is in favor of the 49ers. They're the favorite at minus 550. Seahawks, the underdogs, at plus 410. There's a 42.5 point over-under and a 9.5 point spread. X, this is a huge game for both of these teams. Who are you taking here?
Oh, man. Here we go, huh? Got the Seattle Seahawks and the San Francisco 49ers. This, I think the money line says it perfectly. When you're looking at this, the Niners have won twice versus the Seattle Seahawks. And then they're also getting Deebo Samuel back. Plus, so this offense is going to be electric. You got Brock Purdy, who's 5-0 already with the Niners. And you've got one of the best defenses over there. So I don't think the Seattle Seahawks stand a chance here. I'm looking at the 49ers clinching this thing and going on to the divisional round.
Lando?
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with the money line. I do like the spread in this. I think plus 9.5. You said 9.5?
Yes, sir.
I think that's a lot for a playoff game. The Seahawks, they have the potential not to only win this game, but to keep it close. So the 49ers are going to have to put up another good game, which they have been. They're just so good at driving the ball, getting down the field. When you have players like George Kittle, Deebo Samuel, and Christian McCaffrey, you're not going to have many punts in a game. So I like the 49ers money line this week. We're taking the safe pick.
Yep, I'm going to have to follow up right there. I do think the 49ers are the favorite team for a reason. And just to add to one of X's points, Brock Purdy has looked phenomenal. Not only has he won his past 5 games, he's also been statistically the number 1 quarterback in the past 5 weeks.
Jeez.
Like that, for Mr. Irrelevant, that says everything to me.
I mean,
Now,
he's looking pretty damn relevant. Come on.
yeah, I'm not a big fan of the money line because it's heavily skewed. So I don't know if I take money line here, but as Landon was saying, I do like this point spread. I do think this is going to be a much closer game than what Vegas is saying. So I'm going to take the under on the point spread, and I think it'll be a lot closer than what is currently projected. But all in favor of the 49ers? Squad ride.
Squad ride.
Next up is our Saturday night game, and this could arguably be the best game of the entire wild card round. We have the Los Angeles Chargers going against the Jacksonville Jaguars at home. Jaguars are the underdog, oddly enough, with that stout defense at plus 104, and the LA Chargers are the favorite at minus 122. 2.5 point spread and a 47.5 point over under. Lando, who you got? I know you're a big fan of Herbie, but who you got?
Man, I'm a huge fan of Herbie, fully loaded. That is my guy. And I'm going to ride with him. I'm taking the Chargers all the way. They got their weapons back. Mike Williams is a little banged up, but I think he'll be good to go. We need him. I think Eckler's going to have a huge game. This is when he shines, is prime time Saturday night football. And we're going to take the Chargers money line, who knocks out the Jags, who beat the Titans last week to barely clinch a spot in the playoffs.
Javier?
Sheesh. This game is going to be super close. This game is going to be probably one of the best games this wild card weekend, to be honest. But I'm going to have to disagree with Lando here, bro.
Yes.
I have to disagree, my boy. I can't squad this one just because we're looking at the Jags, who have already beat the Chargers, right? They beat them earlier this year, 38-10. And then you got Doug Peterson with playoff experience.
But you have the Chargers who didn't have any receivers except Josh Palmer and DeAndre Carter.
Right. But then you also got Doug Peterson, who's changed his whole franchise around. I mean, with Urban Meyer, they were 2-11, and then they ended up losing out the rest of their games. And then Doug Peterson comes in here. They struggle at the beginning, but then they find their way, and now they're really like on a super hot streak right now, coming to the end of the season. And then Brandon Staley, on the other hand, hasn't had any playoff experience. Justin Herbert doesn't have any playoff experience. You have Doug Peterson with the Jags, who has that playoff experience, won a Super Bowl, and now you're looking at Trevor Lawrence and Justin Herbert matchup, really, I think, is what it comes down to. And Trevor Lawrence has been on a tear lately. Plus, let's not forget about that Jags defense, who is top 5 in turnovers with 27 turnovers this year. I think they get it done in LA.
Nope, they're in Jacksonville.
Oh, even better.
So this is still really hard. I am leaning towards Herbie fully loaded, and it's not only because of him. Yes, Mike Williams might be a little banged up, but they're pulling back Rashawn Slater out of IR. So that's some extra support on the offensive line. But don't forget, Bosa's coming back. Khalil Mack is healthy. This defense is strong too. And I don't know if y'all can name them. What's a receiver on the Jags?
Christian Kirk. What you talking about? What's a receiver on the
Boy.
Jags? Christian Kirk has done very well this year.
I think Evan Ingram's the best receiver on the Jags.
Okay, but yeah, I mean, Evan Ingram has been playing even better.
But real quick, just listen to this lineup. I mean, like Josh said, we got some people coming back. You didn't even mention the Chargers defense.
No, I know that.
Mack, Joey Bosa, Asante Samuel.
Yeah, Derwin James. Like I know they have studs over there, and that was the biggest thing for the Chargers coming into this year, was that they're going to be one of the most dominant teams that we've seen. But they weren't that team. They haven't played like that. Even when they were healthy, they didn't play like that.
It's time.
They haven't been healthy all year. So
but, I mean, they were at the beginning of the year. Let's be real. But the only thing I feel is like Brandon Staley is just not that guy. Last year, when they had a chance for the playoffs, they choked it away against the Raiders. That's what I see coming in this game. I think the Jags are just built for this. I think it all starts with the head coach. You have the mindset of your head coach, and Doug Peterson is a winner. Brandon Staley, I don't know if I could say the same.
I mean, that's fair, but he's got to get playoff experience somewhere. I think this is the year. I'm going to ride with Lockett and Lando. I'm taking the Jags money, or not Jags, the LA Chargers money line here at minus 122. Yes, their defense was a little sketchy throughout the year, but they did not have Asante Samuels since week 2, which was probably the biggest issue. You get him back, you get Bosa back, that's additional pressure. I think LA has everything they need to make a real Super Bowl run here. Now, if they do it, that's a different story. But we have a 2-1. Me and Lockett and Lando taking in the LA Chargers. X coming in with the Jacksonville Jaguars money line at plus 104.
Come on.
Next up, we have the Miami Dolphins at the Buffalo Bills. Right now, I see this as a pretty obvious choice, but I'm going to give you the odds anyway. Dolphins are the heavy underdog at plus 370. Buffalo Bills heavy favorite, minus 480. 9-point spread with a 46.5 point over-under. I'm going to start it off on this one. It's easy. It's Josh Allen, MVP runner-up. I'm taking Buffalo Bills here. Their secondary may be a little shaky, but I think they'll be able to do the job against a nobody quarterback.
Yeah, man. I've got notes here on this game. And literally the only note that I have is Josh Allen. Like, that's it. Doesn't have any stats, doesn't have anything. It just says Josh Allen. I think the Buffalo Bills have this one wrapped up pretty much. I think the biggest thing from this is Tua's injury, which we don't know his status yet. Obviously, he's been concussed 2 times this year, technically 3, but 2 times that he's been out. And we're not going to know if he's going to play or not until tomorrow, Wednesday, or maybe even Thursday. So we're not sure about Tua. This offense is not the same without him. And Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills just have something to play for. I feel like they're playing inspired right now. Hence the kickoff return touchdown at the opening of the game against the Patriots last week. So I think the Buffalo Bills have this one wrapped up. It's going to be pretty easy. They're just going to Miami's just going to pack their bags and go home.
And to add to your point with Tua real quick, I think even if he is okay to play and chooses to play, I would be terrified of any of these defensive players being able to get to him and sacking him. Because, I mean, who knows? It could be another concussion. Once you have one, they're easier to get. But that's all I got for that. Lockett and Lando, what you got?
Man, I got some notes for this one, too. This is a lopsided game. Bills offense, man. I mean, all season, you got to think they're number 2 right now in total yards per game. They're averaging over 400 yards a game. You're looking at third down percentage, first in the league, over 50%. Every other third down is getting converted in Buffalo. And then we go to the defense. These guys are only giving up 17 points per game. That's second in the league, only behind the 49ers. This Bills team is fierce, and we have to remember they're playing for their guy right now. DeMar is healthy. He's back. He's going to be at the game. And this has to be a dub. The -9 is probably going to be worse than that. So this is an easy Bills lock.
Don't forget, it's cold as hell in Buffalo.
Hell yeah. Start your engines, boy. This is squad ride.
So that was our first Sunday game. Next up, we have our second Sunday afternoon game. We have the New York Football Giants going up against the Minnesota Vikings at home. Can Kirky do it in prime time? I don't know. But we have Giants coming in as the plus 140 underdog. Vikings minus 166 favorite at home. 3-point spread with a 48.5 point over under. X, what you thinking?
Oh, man. Plus 140 and minus 166. The biggest question here, and you said it, bro, it's Kirk Cousins. What version of Kirk Cousins do we get? Do we get the no shirt on, chains hanging from the neck, swinging back and forth, doing the dance, doing the do? Or do we get, the choker Kirk Cousins, primetime Kirk Cousins who doesn't know how to throw a football? And this is a primetime game. They are the only game in this slot. I think we're going to get the primetime Kirk Cousins, which is absolutely terrible. I think this Giants defense is actually very good. And they're the dark horse here. The Giants are, they weren't even expected to be here right now, but they are here. So they really have nothing to lose. And they're just going to go out here and play their hearts out. I think Daniel Jones has done a great job protecting the football. with only 16 turnovers this season. That is second least in the NFL. So I think the Giants are doing great. The Vikings defense isn't that great either. I'm locking in the Giants in that plus 140. Come on.
Lando.
Man, this was actually a little closer than I thought. The Giants, man, they started out the season one of the hottest teams. Saquon's had one of his best seasons since his rookie season 2018. And Zadarius Smith might be out in this game. He's questionable currently for the Vikings, so it's going to be close. I'm going to have to ride with the best receiver in the league, and that's Justin Jefferson. I think they get it done. They've won too many games that were close. If this one's close, I think it goes to the Vikings. But the Vikings are at home, right? And they are 8-1 this season at home. I just don't see them losing. So okay, I'm gonna lock them in.
I would like to add to that. You're saying the Vikings are 8-1 at home. That is a great stat. But if we're looking at the Giants side of this, the Giants are 7-1 against the spread on the road.
Ooh. Damn near even matchup.
And this is a +3 spread right here. I don't see why they couldn't cover the spread, or I don't see why they couldn't cover the spread plus even, take the game and win the game in money line.
So I'm actually gonna have to agree with Xavier here. I'm taking the New York Giants, and that's also appeasing money line. Dabble is for sure coach of the year. Has turned this almost poverty franchise around since Eli Manning and really made it something impactful. We've seen Saquon have decent usage. Daniel Jones looking damn near like MVP caliber quarterback. He's been truly elite throughout the season, given the wide receivers he has on that team. I think this NFC East is a lot tougher than it's been given credit for since the beginning of the season. And you know what? I just don't trust Kirk Cousins primetime. It does not pan out. I think I take the Giants here, +140, riding with X. 2-1, Lando got the Vikings.
Sheesh, I can't believe y'all aren't taking the Vikings, considering they're 13-4, first in their division, and the Giants are like third.
I think the Vikings are a fluke. I think the Vikings are a fluke. That's just how I feel. But next up, we have the Baltimore Ravens going up against the Cincinnati Bengals on Sunday Night Football. True prime time here. Bengals coming in as the heavy favorite with a -335 money line. Ravens +270 underdogs. 7-point spread with a 42.5 point over/under. Lando, what you thinking?
Bengals and Ravens, you got Lamar Jackson coming back from an injury and is expected to suit up. And this one's kind of tough. I mean, the Bengals are 6-1 at home. They got the home game. You got the Ravens, who are on a 2-game losing streak, and the Bengals, who are on an 8-game winning streak. I'm taking the Bengals, and it's because they've been in the playoffs before. They are a tremendous team when under pressure. And if the Ravens fall behind, you never see them coming back. You only see them maintaining leads when they're already up. So it's too tough for me. I think the Bengals are going to score quick, and the Ravens aren't going to be able to. Lamar Jackson ain't Tom Brady. He may rush for a 50-yard touchdown, but he's not going to finish the game with 1 minute left and 0 timeouts. I'm taking the Bengals in this. Money line, lock me in.
I'm smelling.
Come on. I mean,
you smelling it?
I'm smelling it. It's definitely going to be a squad right here, but
I can smell the oil coming from the cars, the ride.
Hey, did y'all think I was going to take the Ravens for just a second?
Not even close. I don't think it was. I mean, dude, you're looking at this game. Lamar Jackson coming back from an injury, a knee injury at that. And what does he do best? Run. But if his knee's injured and he's still a little banged up, I mean, going out there, it's going to be kind of difficult for him to run, especially with that defensive line and Trey Hendricks coming at him. So
I'll tell you, bro, he was really hard to have in fantasy because even when healthy, he was putting up 14 fantasy points a game after his 40-pointer.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So it's
week
like,
straight, man.
and then you look on the other side, you're looking at Joe Burrow, who is literally in elite form right now. And you're talking about Joe Burrow, who I said is a top 2 quarterback right now as well last week. And I still think he is. And he's just Joe Cool, dude. He knows how to get it done. This is the Bengals we're talking about. And Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are going to get it done. I feel like they also have something to play for with the whole situation with DeMar Hamlin that happened, even though it's not their team or their teammate. I think they're still kind of feeling that on their shoulders a little bit, and they're going to come out and play pretty hard.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with both of these guys here. This is definitely the Bengals game. Sadly, there's not really a receiver I can name on the Ravens. Obviously, they have Sammy Watkins, but if you watch last week's game at all, this wide receiving core is a shit show. It is god awful, and I don't think there's any reason for Lamar to actually play. I know they want him to come back for playoffs, but if he's smart, I think he just holds out for that contract that they've kind of been screwing him out of. So I'm taking Bengals here. That offense is just so stout. Joe Mixon, you have Samaj P. Ryan just going off. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. It's just an onslaught.
Nasty.
I don't think the Ravens are going to be able to stop this. They would need the Ed Reed, Ray Lewis defense to even make a dent in this game, and they don't have that. So I'm wrapping it up with the Bengals. I'm not taking money line. I think I take the over on the spread, though, because I think this game is not even going to be close. Next up, this is my favorite game because, I'm about that boy's life. Next up is the Monday Night Football game at 8:16 p.m. This is going to be the Dallas Cowboys at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is truly our kryptonite here. We have the Buccaneers coming in as the underdog, oddly, at plus 126, and the Dallas Cowboys as the favorites at minus 148. 2.5-point spread with a 45.5-point over-under. I'm going to start it off. I hate to do it to my Cowboys, but I truthfully do not have any faith in Dak Prescott, especially after last week losing a very important game against the Commanders in a third-string quarterback. There was no excuse for it, and I don't see them being able to do it against a healthy Tampa Bay, who is now getting back some key defensive players and their starting center, Ryan Jensen. I'm taking TB12. This man knows how to work in the playoffs. Plus 126 money line. X. Who are you taking?
Oh man, I know you said you're kind of excited for this game and all, but I'm kind of despising. I'm despising this game. I do not want to watch this. I'm nervous. I'm gonna ride this with you, bro. I'm taking the Bucks as well, and the reason why I'm taking the Bucks is I am following the trends that are going on right now. You're talking about the Dallas Cowboys. Every time they're in the playoffs, they end up losing. Even if they did great in the regular season, they lose wild card weekend. And then you're talking about, on the other side, you're talking about Tom Brady, who is one of the greatest and has won hella playoff games and has won 7 Super Bowls. Obviously, I got to go with Tom Brady and the Bucks. The defense is still playing fairly well, and they have been known to stop the run. The Dallas Cowboys looked terrible last week trying to run the football. And on top of that, Dak Prescott did not look good at all.
Man, oh man, it came down to it. I can't believe y'all are on the train right now with the Buccaneers. And this sounds like a chugga squall ride in this thing because I'm in the Buccaneers. And here's why. Tom Brady's undefeated against the Cowboys. This is like Aaron Rodgers playing the Bears. I mean, it's just what happens when we watch these games. Not only that, we talk about how good the Cowboys defense has been this year, and the Buccaneers have been a little better. Top 10 in total yards allowed, top 5 in third down percentage. This is going to be a nice game to watch. I think there's going to be some points on the board, but Tom Brady's locking this in. I placed a bet. I had a dream and placed a bet for a Bills and Bucks Super Bowl. And that's what I'm riding with. So for me to cash, I have to take the Buccaneers and ride it with y'all. Let's get it.
Lando had a dream.
I do want to add one additional caveat to help prove our point in this squad ride. Do y'all know what the record is for the Cowboys when they play on a grass field?
Tell
Tell
me.
me.
0-3. We only
I thought
perform.
there was going to be a lot more, too.
I'm surprised they've only played on 3 grass fields their entire existence.
Well, I mean, this season. We're taking
Okay.
this season. All of our grass field games, we lose. Historically, through this season, Tampa Bay, grass field. Do you know what the Cowboys practice on? Turf field. I think there's something to this.
Bro, that blows my mind.
Okay.
I don't know, man. Yeah, regardless, I'm still taking the Bucs. I mean, even if they played on a turf field, I think Tom Brady is just the GOAT, and he knows how to win, bro. He's going to get it done. This is his last year in the NFL.
Tom Brady can play the fourth quarter only and still beat the Cowboys.
Literally, he's not going out yet. Like he must have some Cowboys stock or something because he owns us for real.
Cowboys won't turn it on until the fourth quarter anyway, so that's just how I feel about it.
So what's our money line?
So our money line is a plus 126 in favor, or not in favor, but as the underdog with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that's a pretty good one to add into your parlay if you believe Tom Brady can do it. We all do here. I think you should too. So that is our money line bets for the week. Lando, I know you got some additional money for these fans to make. What you got?
Okay, let's get it. We got some player props on the block. We got those parlays for you. So what we did is we started researching and figuring out where the lines were for these playoff games. And while we were doing a podcast, we wanted to make a little money and place some bets and lock it in. So I know that y'all got some good picks for the people. We got some parlays and player props, big flex X. What are you locking in for them?
Oh, wait. Should I just run through both of them real quick or what?
Yeah, just hit them.
All right, man. Get your notepads ready. Get your books ready because we're about to go dummy on this. So, and trust me when I tell you this, I took my time to make these picks, and these, to me, I feel like are automatic locks, and we're going to hit. So we'll be back next week to let you know if we did. But first one, this is an anytime touchdown score, and that is my boy, Josh Allen. I'm looking at Josh Allen going up against the Miami Dolphins. He's at plus 125 right now. You put down 100, you win 125, of course. But what I'm looking at is the trend here. I'm looking at Josh Allen. He has 7 touchdowns this entire season rushing. This has happened pretty much like every other game. And if it's not every other game, it's like every 2 games. But that was earlier in the season. And then lately, like the last 5 or 6 weeks of the season has been every other game that he's had a rushing touchdown. He did not have one last week against New England. He's going up against the Miami Dolphins, who's been a little bit shaky on defense. Their D-line has been a little bit shaky. I like him scoring a rushing touchdown right now. I'm locking that in, plus 125. Come on. Sheesh. Next up, I know, we love it. We love it. And don't worry, I got the Bills on this parlay as well. This is the parlay that's coming up, and I got the Bills locking it in. I'm obviously going to lock in those money lines that don't look very enticing. They look kind of terrible, honestly, and you don't really want to bet them straight up. I'm going to lock those into my parlays because these are lock 3000s for sure. I'm locking in the Niners money line at minus 550, and I'm also locking in the Bills money line at minus 480. That's 2 legs right there. We got 2 more going for you.
So how much does that win?
Well, the parlay's not over.
Oh, you're still going.
I'm still going. This is a 4-legger, bro. I'm talking about
shoot.
Yeah, 4-leggers, bro. I don't even know what a 4-legger. Like, this is a horse, my boy. This is a cow.
Yeah.
All right, but we got the Niners money line, we got the Bills money line, and now we're locking in the Los Angeles Chargers going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. We're locking in the over on this game. I know Lando said something about Justin Herbert going over on some touchdowns. He may have said that to me on the side, but I like the over on here. We're at 47.5. I'm locking that in. And then on top of that, I am locking in the under for the Giants and Vikings game at 48.5. That's 100 to win 420. 420 blaze it. Come on.
420 blaze it. Come on. Yes, sir. All right, Josh. Jukum Josh has something for you. We got the parlay. We got the player props. What you talking about?
Okay, so I have a player prop and I have my parlay. I do think my player prop could also be put into a parlay if you're ballsy and your system allows you to do it. But I'm going to start it off with these player props. We have Christian McCaffrey, 2 touchdowns at plus 380. Now, this Seahawks defense is one of the worst run defenses in the league. Who's going to take advantage of that? Deebo Samuels, Christian McCaffrey. You're going to want Brock Purdy to take it to his all-stars and run it through them. That's going to be Christian McCaffrey, arguably the number 1 running back in the league. Next up, I'm taking Saquon as the first touchdown of the game.
Nice.
At plus 650. I do think this will work really well, seeing as he's kind of the focal point there. There's not a whole lot of wide receiver options, and so it's him and Daniel Jones really running this ball. I think it goes to a, maybe a 3rd and goal, 2nd and goal, and who are you going to hand it off to? Saquon, right there. He's going to get it for you.
Who are you going to call?
So if you do combine those, that is a $3,500 odds. So bet 100, win 3,500. Next up, I have my actual parlay for the games themselves. I'm starting it off with the LA Chargers. I'm going to take their money line at minus 122. And then I'm going to take the San Francisco 49ers spread of under 9.5 points. I think this is going to be close, but I think it's going to be a damn good game. That's a minus 115 odds. And then I'm taking the New York Giants money line at plus 140 because they are the underdog, but I believe truthfully with coaching and that whole system, they are a better team. And then I'm also taking the Tampa Bay Buccaneers money line at plus 126, seeing as for some reason Vegas doesn't want to favor them. So I might as well make the most of it. This is bet 100, win $1,745 or $1,745.
Sheesh, my boy's out here breaking the bank and shit.
Y'all about to make some money this week. All right, y'all. It sounds like I got to lock something in. And how do I compete with those picks right there? Some of the best picks of the week. So let's see what I got. I got a little something. We're going to start out with a player prop. Back to the Buccaneers and Tom Brady. I think the over-under on his passing yards is too low, considering he put up over 400 last week against the Panthers. And we're locking in the over 274.5 passing yards for Tom Brady. That's a nice little minus 115, so that's just going to be something I'm putting a unit on. And I'm going to win my money back for that. For the money I win from that player prop, which is just so – I don't know if Vegas is messing with me, but I feel like I'm getting my money on that. We're locking in a parlay. We're going to have some fun. We're going to put $100 on Austin Eckler and Jamar Chase to get 2+ touchdowns in the first week of playoffs. I'm seeing it. I got a vision, and they're both in playoff mode. We're looking at the odds on this at plus 2,720. 100 to win, 27-20. Lock me in. Eckler and Jamar Chase plus 2 touchdowns. Damn. If I had to take the money line, I'm taking Bucks money line. That's it. That's all I would take. And I'm learning to bet straight bets a little more lately, and then use that money to then you get some parlays going. You gotta play it smart. You gotta lock it in.
Big facts.
And there you have it. That was your parlays, your player props for the first week of playoffs. We're excited. We're locking them in. And it sounds like it's time for our halftime show.
So, obviously, we had the Natty occur on Monday. I know a lot of Texas fans are kind of heartbroken by the performance by TCU. Georgia came out with a fat dub, astronomically fat. Final score was
Still so mad.
65-7.
Don't even say it, bro. I'm a little upset. Big Flex X got his Georgia shirt on, and I had some money on TCU, so I should have saved myself and put a little bit on Georgia to get my money back.
Yeah, you definitely should have.
Bro, I don't understand the thought process here. Is what I'm going at. What I'm getting at. It's like Georgia all season long has been dogged about how they're not that good or how they've always I don't know. I feel like they're better than what everybody's making them out to be. And they've been getting hoed all season long. And then, yes, they had this game against Ohio State where they had they caught a break pretty much. And now they're in the Natty. But you're looking at TCU, bro. It's like TCU's a Big 12 team. Shouldn't even be there. I don't even think the Big 12 is even close to the SEC. So it just blows my mind that they were even in there. I mean, I'm glad that they were, and shout out to them. TCU's my second favorite team, by the way. So it's not like I was rooting against them, but I was definitely rooting for the dogs, you know?
I mean, I just had to look at it from a record basis. Georgia's undefeated. I mean, how are you going to argue that? You can't. TCU definitely has a lot easier matchups, especially given their charity matchups where they basically have to pay a lesser team to be able to play against them. So I definitely have to take that in account. Yes, TCU played their heart out through the entire season. But everyone who watches college football should know Georgia about that action, and they've been about that action for the past 5 years. Only ones giving Alabama a run for their money year over year. That's all you got to take away from that. But we did see an amazing performance by arguably one of the oldest quarterbacks we've ever seen in college football. X, what did you think about Stetson Bennett's performance in this game?
Well, I think Stetson Bennett played very well, obviously. I mean, he went out there, scored quite a few touchdowns. I mean, he was slinging the ball anywhere. He was literally doing whatever he wanted to do to that TCU defense, which is kind of crazy because TCU has a fairly decent defense. That's probably been what got them this far. But I think the biggest reason why is you're looking at one of the best tight ends in the NCAA with Brock Bowers, 7 receptions, 152 yards, and 1 touchdown. This guy is elite. I'm talking about probably the best tight end we've seen in NCAA besides Kyle Pitts, of course. And he's out there, and he still has 1 more year of college eligibility until he's ready for the NFL draft. So it makes it a lot easier when you got weapons like that. I think Stetson Bennett did a great job. I think throughout this entire season, he hasn't been the best, but this will definitely raise his draft stock quite a bit. I know Lando was talking about could he go first overall. I don't think I see that, but I do see him maybe first round, early second round.
Yeah, well, the Texans screwed that one up, didn't they?
That was done on purpose.
Lovie Smith, my boy Lovie Smith was ready to get out of there, bro. My boy was trying to retire without actually trying to retire. He was like, you know what? I'm going to win this game on purpose because I love the Bears, and the Bears are going to move up to the first slot, and I'm going to take this L, and I'm going to go home and just big chill and be retired.
Yeah, that was wild, man. So let's talk about this real quick. Josh, what do you mean they did this on purpose? What was their plan? Are they going after someone specific?
No. Obviously they wanted that first overall draft pick, but The reason I say this was done on purpose is because this not head coach, but this front office for the Houston Texans is god awful. Potentially the worst team I've ever seen from a front office standpoint. I think they were dumb enough to tell Lovie Smith, hey man, you're taking the fall, but you're fired this year, even though you didn't have a quarterback, you didn't have receivers. And he was like, you know what? I'm going to give you the bird on my way out, and you're going to get the second overall pick, and we're going to just be the worst team at losing. And so I think that's what it is. I mean, he got fired immediately after the game. I think he knew he was getting fired immediately after the game and was going to be the fall guy for the Texans. So, I mean, what better way to go out than just say, F you, and I'm going to retire? But I don't even think he's going to retire. I think he's going to go back to the Bears.
This dude really said F you like hardcore, bro. How the hell do you get a fourth and 20 or something like that? Hail Mary or something, touchdown, and then you go for 2, and then you actually convert it and you win the football game. Like, what are the odds? Why couldn't you do that all season long? But now Lovie Smith is just a Chicago Bear. That's what he is, bro. I mean, the boy was a linebacker, played for the Chicago Bears as a linebacker, head coach the Chicago Bears for a while, and now with the Texans being a head coach for them for 1 year, gives them the bird or whatever, and gives the Chicago Bear the first overall pick. Coincidence? I think not. My boy was scheming this the entire season.
Yep, that's how I feel. And I mean, it's interesting to see. I hope the Bears make the most of that choice. I'm happy the Texans don't have it, seeing how they handled Deshaun and everything. So, you know what? I'm ready for the Texans to move to a different state. You know, give me a different ownership group here. This is terrible.
Yeah, man. So before we go and get into the third quarter, I must know, what's everybody sipping on?
Ooh, I got a good one for y'all today. Give me one sec.
All right. Well, while we're waiting
This is the halftime chug.
This is the halftime chug, and while we're waiting on my boy Josh, you already know I got the Bud Light in my hand, and I shall chug in honor of the halftime chug.
All right, it's time to chug. Your boy Lock It In Lando is on a Belgian white tonight, and I'm feeling right. All right.
Ooh, my boy rapper.
You know, obviously, I've been trying to lean away from the beers. You know, they get a little heavy, sit in your stomach quite a bit longer than liquor. And, you know, I'm not a huge liquor drinker. It's like a glass a couple times a week, maybe. And so I've really been getting into my whiskeys. And so I went and got out this cask aged whiskey. It's called Milliman Green, but it is a rye whiskey aged in port wine casks. It is a 94 proof. So it's really just meant for sipping, but very flavorful. It's great with
you're
some
trying
ice.
to get lit.
Just straight. No, not get lit. Mellow. Chill. Just
on the rocks, big chill, you know, I feel you.
And, you know, it's actually, I feel a lot better because whenever I was drinking beer for these, you know, we would get some pretty high dosage beers there. I felt heavy. I felt bogged down. If I just have a whiskey, I'm good for the night and I don't feel anything in the morning. And I know liquor's, believe it or not, technically healthier than having a beer.
Yeah, I'm going to be real with you because I am your friend. You are also looking heavy.
Oh, thank you. Big body.
My boy built thick. All right, but let's go ahead and kick this third quarter off. We've got the second half right ahead of us. And the first thing that we're talking about is some fantasy football updates. We've got trade talk already right after week 18. We're already talking about guys changing teams. We're talking about coaches moving around. So first up, we got DeAndre Hopkins. Big news that the Cardinals are looking at trading him. My biggest question here is, okay, they trade DeAndre Hopkins, right? But where does he land? What is a good landing spot for him? What makes sense for him and another team? And where do the Cardinals go from here? And what are they asking for DeAndre Hopkins, do you think? Lando?
Well, to me, it seems like DeAndre Hopkins is after one thing, and that's a ring. The guy deserves it. He's been team to team, and things go bad every time. But you go from the Texans to the Cardinals, and now the Cardinals are one of the worst teams in the league. Kyler can't stay healthy. They fire the head coach. DeAndre needs a solid QB, a solid coach who's going to get him the ball. I'm thinking teams like Chiefs and Bills. Somebody like the Bills who has a Stephon Diggs, but who else? You got Gabe Davis as the next best receiver.
Maybe.
Let's put DeAndre Hopkins on the other side of Diggs and have some real threats going in and put this man on a winning team.
So, personally, this is a hard one for D-Hop because he's got $50 million left on this contract, which is pretty hefty for only 2 years. So I'm kind of concerned on what the trade options could be. But as you said, I do see him going to a team where he wants to win. I do see the Bills, Chiefs. Sadly, I think the Bengals are out of contention just with the strength of their wide receiving core. But I do think, to me, the option that makes the most sense is actually just going a little bit more West Coast, hitting up my boy Herbie and filling in for either Keenan Allen or Mike Williams, seeing as they're both really injury prone. D-Hop is not as injury prone and is, to me, a way better receiver than either of those. Though Keenan Allen is a great possession receiver and you have your 50-50 receiver in Mike Will, D-Hop is undefeated. And they're already in playoff contention, can go for a Super Bowl.
Sheesh. Well, this wide receiver market looks pretty loaded right now. I mean, obviously, you got D-Hop who's asking for a trade, or not asking for a trade, but the Cardinals are actively looking to trade him. And then you got Brandon Cooks, a former first-round pick, begging to be traded from the Texans as he wants nothing to do with the rebuild, and he is asking to get out of there right away. Brandon Cooks, I mean, he's been to multiple teams and has made a difference in every single team that he's been at. When you look at that, this is another guy that I'm wondering, where is he going to land? You know, I think y'all were talking about these teams just now. I think Buffalo makes a lot of sense for Brandon Cooks more than it does for D-Hop, I think, just because D-Hop is going to be extremely expensive for the Bills. When you look at Brandon Cooks, he's going to be a lot cheaper, I believe.
I do see that. You know what? I actually think for the Chiefs, Brandon Cooks may be a really good value steal. He's only got a 2-year contract. Next year, he is due $18 million. The Chiefs have been very frugal, and you already know Patrick Mahomes is more than willing to take a cut to have more weapons. So, I mean, having a contract that only carries through 2024 and to bolster your wide receiver weapons, I think Brandon Cooks is a great option. I think the Texans need to be friendly to their players here and let this man go from a decimated team.
I think this is going to be an NFC power move, and I'm going with the Philadelphia Eagles. The NFC, a team that would love Brandon Cooks on their team because you have AJ, Devontae. That's it. Then you got Quez Watkins.
I can see it because they have Devontae on a rookie contract right now. Like
they got to pay him soon, though.
They got to pay him soon, but do they? I mean, they can just move on from him because they still have AJ Brown for a while, and then if they sign Brandon Cooks, they can keep Brandon Cooks on a lesser contract.
Literally like a better Devontae Smith.
Whoa,
that's a reach.
No. I wouldn't say it's a reach. It's a discussion.
Has had a phenomenal career.
He has.
I'm not saying Brandon Cooks is better than Devontae Smith, though. I think it's a discussion to have, but I don't think he's. I can't. I got to think about it, to be honest.
I'm taking age into the factor, and they would be dumb to go sign Brandon Cooks and not sign Devontae Smith at the beginning, potentially height.
You can get Brandon Cooks for a lot lower.
Yeah, you can get him for a lot cheaper. He is a little bit older and stuff, but you got AJ Brown. That's your guy. That's who you're going with. So so crap, I forgot his name already. Devontae Smith. I mean, he's going to play out his rookie contract, and then from there, I think you let him go. I think you let him go wherever he wants, and you get a cheaper receiver like Brandon Cooks. That makes so much sense to me in my head. Jesus.
He's already been in the league 9 years, though. I mean, I don't know.
I
That's
mean,
exactly what they want, bro.
he's still getting 1,000-yard seasons. Like besides this year.
Speaking
Bro,
of,
think about his quarterbacks, though.
Who?
Brandon Cook's quarterbacks have always been so terrible, and he still finds a way to catch 1,000.
Can we argue that Jared Goff was terrible? He did pretty decent this year.
But no. We're talking about when we were talking about Jared Goff when we knew that he was ass, and he was like ass, and we were saying that he was ass.
He went to a Super Bowl still. I mean, yeah, we said he's ass, but he still went to a Super Bowl.
He did, but that was Sean McVay and the defense and all the weapons, and I mean, we've had this argument before.
You're right. But I mean, I like Brandon Cooks. I want to see him finish his career somewhere other than Houston. I want everyone to finish their career somewhere other than Houston. So,
somebody who we're looking at finishing their career, or we thought his career was over, but not really, is Sean Payton, who is currently in discussions with this. The Saints are currently under discussions with the Denver Broncos, talking about trading away Sean Payton, and the Saints are asking for a first-round pick, and Denver's saying that they are intrigued and that they may possibly do it. Is this even a smart move for the Broncos?
No, because Russ does not listen to his coach. Pete Carroll has said he does not listen to his coach. Former players have said he does not listen to his coach. I don't think even if you have Sean Payton there, one of the most respected coaches in the league, I don't think Russ gets out of that habit. I think, yes, he may be a very godly person and very in tune with his wide receivers. Don't think he's in tune with the coaching staff. The place I think he would be best is actually the Arizona Cardinals, because they just lost Cliff Kingsbury. They need a coach who's going to come in and set the tone and get Kyler Murray off a damn Call of Duty. Sean Payton's that man. He taught Drew Brees how to play the damn game. He's going to teach Kyler Murray how to play the damn game. And if he doesn't, he's going to get him out of there, and the Cardinals will be free from the little man.
Yeah, man, that's
I don't know, man.
That's a take right there. Sean Payton, huh? I'll tell you where I would like Sean Payton. I think Sean Payton needs to go to the Carolina Panthers.
Ooh.
Because we've got torn down. We've sent off all of our guys. Christian McCaffrey gone. We had our nice cornerback Bradbury gone. Cam gone. We don't have anybody left. I'm ready to rebuild, and it starts with Sean Payton bringing back some hope on the Carolina Panthers, because they don't even have a head coach right now.
If that happens, I hope they don't do what they did to Matt Rule. I hope they give him at least a 3-year cycle, because we know Sean Payton is proven and can make shit work. He did it with the Saints when they were depleted at times. I like the Panthers because they do have a full rebuild ahead of them.
And he stays in the NFC South.
Yeah. Oh, dang. That would be a crazy storyline. Sean Payton, I mean, he just knows quarterbacks. I think he's a quarterback guru. He was with the Dallas Cowboys before and made Troy Aikman. I'm not sure if that was the Troy Aikman era. I think it was a little later. I think that was the pre-Tony Romo era. But regardless, actually, not sure.
Drew Bledsoe?
Yeah, but even then, I mean, he's the guy who brought Drew Brees over to the Saints. You know what I'm saying? So this guy, I mean, he knows the quarterbacks. He knows how to get it done. I really want him on the Cowboys, to be honest. But after this back-to-back winning season with Mike McCarthy, I just don't see it happening. Plus, the Cowboys aren't willing to give up a first-round pick. I'm not sure who is for a head coach. I mean, when you have all these young coaches just looking great out here, you know?
I mean, Sean Payton's already kind of like said he's not going to go to the Cowboys.
Yeah, very true. But we got another head coach who is actually possibly seeking a new job.
Nope, he's retiring. That man's retiring.
Retiring. All right, we're talking about retiring. And he is young as hell. I'm thinking he's what, 38, 39?
Yeah, but I mean, he's talked about it in the past. So I don't know if you remember last year when Aaron Donald said, hey, I might be hanging it up after this year. Well, Sean McVay had actually done an interview and said, if my guys retire, then I am going with them. And Aaron Donald is his guy. He already told the entire staff, hey, you guys are free to go look for new jobs. It does not affect you at all. And I have no shame in letting you do that. I think this is him saying, hey, there's going to be a whole new coaching staff. I don't plan to be here.
My boy's loyalty is ride or die. He's like, no, you're out. I'm out with you.
He made enough money.
I don't know. I feel like retirement is out of the question when you've been to the Super Bowl like he has and you're as young as he has. His team could go next season for all we know. With Jalen Ramsey and Cooper Kupp, Matt Stafford comes back. They've been to the Super Bowl with that team. I don't see why he would just throw it away right now. But I guess we're going to see some things. I mean, it's going to be a crazy offseason, but I'm thinking he can get back to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Lando. But I did see this one thing, and this is per Jay Glazer off Fox 4, right? Per Jay Glazer. He was talking about, a lot more people would be surprised if he stays rather than if he leaves. So that's pretty interesting there, right there.
Here's how I'll add to it. The Rams don't have any capital. They're broke. They've gone over the luxury tax the past 2 years. They have no financial room to support any additional players to replace these guys that are potentially retiring. So you're looking at Matt Stafford, Aaron Donald at the end of their careers. And there's no money to get new players. Why stay?
Yeah, man. There's going to be a lot of questions up in the air this offseason, and we're going to be covering all of that. But we're also going to be covering some guys that you got to keep on your radar.
Let's get right into it. We got the players to keep on your radar. Look out. These are the diamonds in the rough. Whenever you got a late round draft pick and you're thinking, I hope he pans out. Dang, I hope he does good for me this season. These guys blasted off. League winners that were found late in the drafts that you got to draft ahead of people to make sure you lock them in. Up first, we got to go about the obvious. This is Josh Jacobs from the Raiders talking about he wants to stay. This was a fantasy pick that you were getting in your 4th to 5th round this season. Dude, Josh Jacobs finished with the running back 3 in fantasy points per game, and he was the rushing champion with over 1,600 yards, 340 carries, and 12 touchdowns. With Josh Jacobs staying on the Raiders, is he a top 5 draft pick? Where are you taking Josh Jacobs next season? X, what you thinking?
Oh, gosh. I was hoping you didn't pick me first, man. Josh Jacobs has always been a guy since he came into the league that I was very intrigued by. I thought he was a great running back. I thought he was all around and could get the job done. And with all the changes that there's been in Las Vegas or with the Raiders, it's just been all over the place, and he hasn't really shined the way I expected him to. This year he comes out and finishes as the running back 3. I'm kind of upset by that, but I'm not too upset because I was fading him. And I think I'm going to continue to fade Josh Jacobs. I mean, after this season, him in the front office are still a little weird. Like everything's not intact there. They're not on the same page. And he wants to stay with the Raiders, but I'm not sure if they're going to let him stay with the Raiders. And if they do, cool, but are they going to keep going through him? I don't know if I like Josh Jacobs. I think I'm still going to fade Josh Jacobs this season again.
So, Jukum Josh, my question is, I mean, what draft pick are you putting on him? Is he number 5 overall? Is he 11th? Where you got him?
See, I can't put him at number 5, sadly, even though he was a top 3 running back this year. There's just too many questions that are left to be answered with this offense and this team as a whole. You know, is Josh McDaniels actually able to coach them to a great season? That's question 1. Question 2 is, who the hell is the quarterback? Question 3 is, are they going to sign Josh Jacobs? Because he's more than overdue for a decent contract. And they don't seem to want to give that to him. Even after all of this, they still have not signed him. Number 3 running back, have not signed him on the final year of his contract. I don't know why Josh Jacobs wants to stay here. This team is disrespecting him day after day. I'm fading him because I don't believe in the Raiders.
Jeez,
So
that
it
sounded
sounds
like.
like.
Sorry, my
ahead.
bad. That sounded like some what's his name? Chef Gordon.
Gordon Ramsay.
Some Gordon Ramsay take right there. I don't know why. It was like you were on his side and then you were like, no, fuck you.
Well, I mean, I think he's all right. So the only way I fade him is if he's on the Raiders, and that seems most likely right now. But we don't know. There's too many questions there, so I have to fade it for the time being.
So if we're doing a fantasy football draft, it looks like we have Josh Jacobs near the end of the second round, maybe an early first, but mostly a fade. That's just where people are going to draft him earlier than that with the season he had.
That's just where his ADP is at. Yeah, I agree.
Right.
I take him as a late first rounder. He's still a first round running back.
I would reconsider my options around if he's in a late first round. I'm reconsidering all my I'm not doing late first round. That's just me. His ADP might be there, but that's just me. I'm not taking that. I will let him slide to the 3rd before I decide on taking Josh Jacobs.
All right, there you have it. We got some more diamonds in the rough. I want to go to somebody who you could get a little later. I'm talking about the 8th round of the draft. It looks like everyone's gone off the board. You know what? Let me just go ahead and snag Tony Pollard. Let me just put him on my team. He's going to be my backup running back. We're in the 8th round. And let's see what happens. All of the sudden, you have Tony Pollard in the top 7 in fantasy points per game as the backup. With or without Zeke, the dude was balling. Finished his season with over 1,000 rushing yards, 9 rushing touchdowns, and 3 receiving. Now, Tony Pollard is boom potential every week with his receiving game. Is this somebody that's going to be on your team next season, or is this a fluke? Is he not going to do the same thing back to back?
Biggest question here is this is a contract season for Tony Pollard. We have to wait and see where he signs. If he signs with the Dallas Cowboys, then I am keeping him. I'm going to pick him up, and I'm talking 3rd round, 4th round pick right here. If he doesn't sign with the Dallas Cowboys and he signs as a starter somewhere else, you're looking at a 1st round pick.
This is like a little Jalen Brunson.
But better. I mean, I have to agree with Xavier here. I think 3rd round actually would be the most likely. I don't see him hitting the 4th based upon this year's analytics. He had an amazing season, only had 2 games with less than 50 rushing yards and a touchdown. So extremely impressive throughout the season. And you see that he's able to break tackles, make open field plays, which they have not gotten out of Zeke this year. I think a majority of Zeke's touchdowns have been on 1 yard goal line carries. So Zeke is not the option in the open field. Tony Pollard is. If he does sign with the Dallas Cowboys, he's the number 1 running back. I love Zeke, but Zeke will then be the 3rd down and goal line back, and that's it.
Tony Pollard, a dog, a league winner, a diamond in the rough. Shine bright like a diamond.
Mm.
You're beautiful like diamonds in the
In the
sky.
sky.
All right, I got another diamond for you. While we're singing and jamming, we're going to have to give it up to the touchdown machine, the playmaker that goes down every time he catches the ball, Tyler Lockett. Give a round of applause for my boy because he is a league winner.
League
Yes, sir.
winner, baby.
And you got to think about it. Tyler Lockett was picked up in the 9th round of fantasy football drafts. I got him as cheap as trading away Derek Carr for Tyler Lockett at the beginning of the season. And I got a diamond in the sky. Let's tell him.
My boy has the same amount of touchdowns that he does Yak.
Yards after catch. That's what I'm saying, bro. We got a top 20 wide receiver out of Tyler Lockett in the 9th round. 84 catches on 117 targets. Geno was the top 5 QB behind Lamar, Patty, Jalen, and Joe. And then you had Geno Smith. So if we're looking at Geno Smith having another season like he did this season on the Seahawks, Tyler Lockett's value continues. What round does he go in? Considering, I'm not saying there's no way he makes it to the 2nd, 3rd round, but he does drop. He goes from the 9th to which round? Jukem Josh, how you feeling on Tyler Lockett?
Man, I love Tyler Lockett. I know we all see the huge stud over there in DK Metcalf, and DK Metcalf is his own monster, but Tyler Lockett is just a possession machine. I mean, he catches the ball, goes down, always makes a smart play for his body to continue playing. The only injury he had was a messed up finger, and that's just from catching the ball that's being rocketed out of Geno Smith's arm. So I love Tyler Lockett. I don't see him going in the 9th round next year. I see him going a little closer to 5th, maybe 6th, just because there's going to be people that are going to continue to sleep on him. He came in with 9 touchdowns at the end of the season, and they still have a playoff run to continue with. And I think he'll make plays there too. So I'm taking him. He definitely did a lot more than DK, seeing as DK only got 6 touchdowns. So he was able to be bigger than the big man in the team. I see him being a pivotal piece in this team next year. They just need to shore up that defense, and man, Pete Carroll's back in it.
So Big Flex X, I mean, if you're seeing, DK's probably got a even higher ADP. Do you skip DK Metcalf to pick up Tyler Lockett later, or do you go ahead and pick up DK and just pick somebody else in the later round?
Yeah, that's a good question, man. Right now, we're talking about diamonds in the rough, right? There's always going to be pressure when you're talking about diamonds. All right. So Tyler Lockett, I mean, there's going to be pressure on the pick that you're taking him. All right. But you're looking at DK. I'm skipping DK. I think Tyler Lockett is going to be the guy. I think I take a better pick somewhere else. Like I get a better player or something more valuable to my team than I do with DK. And I'll skip on DK and take Tyler Lockett in the 7th, maybe late 6th round this next season. But I think closer to the 7th round is where you really want to take him. That's like the best spot. And I like Tyler Lockett. I mean, he's a possession wide receiver. This is a PPR machine. I'm locking him in the 7th, late 6th, 7th round. Tyler Lockett. I'm skipping over DK.
And to add to this, DK Metcalf had 90 catches on 141 targets, so has a much higher target share, gets less yards per catch, amazingly, seeing as Tyler Lockett's is 12.3, DK is coming in at 11.6. So there's only a 15-yard difference between the two, 1,048 with DK Metcalf, and then you have 1,033 with Tyler Lockett, doing more with less.
And missing games.
That's the number one. That's the number one.
You love to see it. The Gridiron Chuggers are loving Tyler Lockett on a very productive season with Geno Smith. Keep Tyler Lockett on your radar. We got some more for you. We got some more diamonds in the rough. Keep them coming, lock it in. Keep them coming. Now, this is a good one. This is actually the second best player on the entire New England Patriots offense. I'm sorry, the whole team. This is the second best player on the whole team, and number one being Matthew Judon. Number two being Ramondre Stevenson. This guy put the team on his back to try to make a playoff run. I'm very impressed. Now, this was a crazy one because Ramondre had some hype coming into the fantasy draft. I remember seeing him on the boards. This was a 9th or 10th round pick. Once he went in, Damian Harris was the starter. So people began to drop Ramondre Stevenson, which means he was now on the waivers in a majority of leagues. So if you picked him up, you got one of the most productive rookie. Is he a sophomore now? Or is
He will be a sophomore going into the next season.
So he's a rookie.
No. He's a sophomore this year going to his third season.
Oh, dude, that's what I thought. So this guy led the Patriots backfield as the running back 11 in fantasy points per game. And he did this with an amazing 210 rushing attempts, but he's even better at receiving. On 88 targets, he caught 69 passes and averaged over 15 fantasy points per game. So is Ramondre Stevenson someone you need to draft? Or is this guy somebody who you just want somebody else? This is an RB2, but do you pick him up?
This is the most complete running back that I have seen the New England Patriots have in a long time. They've always had running backs, and they've always had good running backs, but each running back did something different. You know, one was catching the football, one was downhill runner, the other one was a spark in the offense. This guy has all of those things. He does all of it. He is the best running back that the Patriots have had in a long time, and I think he's sticking with the Patriots, and the Patriots are sticking with him. They're going to keep beating the ball. I think this guy comes back, and he has an amazing season. This is a second-round pick right here. If not,
dude, there's games where he had 10 targets. Mac Jones was dumping off, you know?
And that's Mac Jones' specialty. That's what he does. I mean, he's a dump-off king, or, you know, like he dumps the ball off. If not, I mean, he's not throwing it deep. I can tell you that. And if he does, I mean, I think the way I look at it more is Matt Patricia, the way Matt Patricia calls the offense. But regardless of that, I mean, Ramondre Stevenson, I'm looking to take him second round, third round next year.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, I just don't think he'll be there after the second, third round. Xavier was right. He did play in the 2021 season when he was drafted. But between those two seasons, he's averaging 4.8 yards per carry, has 10 touchdowns through rushing over both of those seasons. And then this year alone in receptions, he got 69, the magic number, off of 88 targets and got an additional receiving touchdown. Now, he has had a little bit of fumble issues, but I don't think that's going to be a huge worry, seeing as he's the focal point. It has to go through him. Mac Jones has been a extremely inaccurate quarterback. So the only question I have for you guys is, how do y'all think he performs if Mac Jones is no longer the QB? I know Bill Belichick said he would be, but you do have to start questioning Mac Jones's capabilities at this point.
Yep, man. Ramondre Stevenson, a diamond in the rough, a waiver pick who's going to be a top 3 round pick in the fantasy draft. If you see him on the board in the third round, you lock in Ramondre Stevenson, and he's taking you to a playoff spot. All right, we got our last diamond in the rough. This is a really good one. somebody who showed up and showed out when it really meant the most. And this is the QB6 on the season. So let's go over this top 5 one more time. You got your Jalen Hurts, your Patty Mahomes, your Joe Burrow, your Lamar Jackson, and your Geno Smith. Number 6 was Justin Fields, y'all. This is the 3-14 Bears. Justin Fields finishing as the QB6 overall in fantasy points per game. This was a historical season as he went over 1,100 rushing yards, and he was actually 64 yards away from breaking Lamar Jackson's rushing record. Unfortunately, he didn't get to do that because he didn't even play the last game of the season. But, you got to think about it. They did go 3-14. His passing game needs a lot of work. He had 17 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. But if he can clean this up and work on his passing, juke him, Josh. Do you think he could be an MVP?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've heard that maybe the Bears, try and look at a new option this year, but you have to take into account the Bears don't have anyone for this guy. Where's Darnell Mooney? Not really much of a presence throughout the entire season. They were dumb and went and got Chase Claypool and cost them the 32nd pick in the draft. Let's be real. Not worth it. You only have one receiving option, and that's Cole Kmet. You don't even have running options because Khalil Herbert was injured for most of the season. David Montgomery was a ghost for most of it. So you had all the rushing yards go through Justin Fields. I think the Chicago Bears need to take the gift that Lovie Smith gave them and just finish it off with the bow. Go get this man an O-line. Go get this man some receivers, and you're looking at an MVP potential quarterback with, 8 plus 17. I'm bad at math, but that's 25 touchdowns and 11 interceptions. That's not bad. That's a 50-50 shot at getting a touchdown. I'll take it.
Dude, I feel like X doesn't think he's going to be an MVP in the next 5 years.
Yeah, no, bro. There's just no way. And it's not his fault. It's not Justin Fields' fault. I think Justin Fields, I think he plays great. But when you're talking, the question was MVP. And as soon as you said that, I was just like, oh, yep, nope. Like, he's out. And that's just because he has nothing around him. Yes, he should be considered as an MVP, but his team will always be 3-11 or 3 and whatever it was, 16 games. Yeah, 3-14. It'll always be 3-14, and he's not going to be even considered as an MVP because his team is doing so terrible. But that's not on him. He's actually doing great, and I think he's a great quarterback, and I think he's going to be better than the number 6 quarterback next year. I think he's going to finish at least top 5. But he won't be MVP because the team will not be good at all in any other aspect.
Yeah, they have no defense. I look at this as minimum 2 years to rebuild.
Which is terrible because Justin Fields is great, and I think he's going to lose the passion for the game, and I think he's going to I'm not sure the kind of mindset that he has. I don't know what kind of person he is, but I feel like if somebody's in a crappy organization for so long and being the leader of that organization and you're not getting any help, how would you feel? Like, I would feel like crap. I'd be like, okay, you know what? I'll give you the bird too. Like, I'm out. Like, I'm done.
Yep. So let's do a quick recap of our top 5 players that you need to keep on your radar going into the fantasy draft of next season. We got number 1, Josh Jacobs. You got number 2 at Tony Pollard. Number 3, Tyler Lockett. Ramondre Stevenson and Justin Fields. Their average draft picks are going to rise, and we got to pick them up because these are some dogs. Now, Big Flex X, take us away.
Yes, sir. That wraps up our wild card weekend, our wild card podcast. We're going to have a lot more diamonds in the rough for you guys. We're going to have a lot more picks for you guys, some bets, some money lines, whatever you need. We're here. You name it. We got it. Make sure you follow us and subscribe to us on YouTube and Instagram at Gridiron Chuggers. We're also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Click the link in our bios. It'll take you straight to a winning fantasy season or maybe even a bigger bank account. But one time for the one time, put your glass in the air. And let's chug, 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 chug.